Welcome, Mary. We're just holding space and waiting for one, possibly two more to enter. Welcome, welcome.
Okay, Kat, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I had to go change my settings. So,
Oh, you did it. You did it.
yeah, I did it. I just need to brush my teeth really, really quick. So, because I had my snack. So, I'll be back in a flash.
Sounds good. Brush them meditatively.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Oh, Lord, that is so funny. I mean, I was recently on this retreat where we were encouraged to do everything in a mindful manner. So you are realigning me with that core truth. Hi, Helen.
Hi, Kat. Good to see you. Oh, I love your daisy.
Times. Oh, thank you.
It's so cute. It's like following you around. I love
Yeah.
it.
It's a virtual daisy. Look, I always say I'm a hippie, so I need to really, what shall I say, follow up through actions, hence not just my words.
Oh, it's lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you as well. Lovely to have your radiant energy in this space.
Oh, it's lovely and you. Thank you. Wow, it's so good to see you.
Good times, good times. How are your holidays? I know that's probably a big question. In 10 words or less? No, I'm kidding.
So much holiday. What you mean in the summer?
No, like
Oh,
the
the Christmas.
December holidays and New Year's and stuff. Because I haven't seen you all since October, if you can believe
Oh, that's true. I can't believe it.
it. It was Thanksgiving,
I can't believe it.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or however.
Oh my God, I know. I can't believe it.
New Year's, Valentine's Day, all the
Oh
things.
my God. I know. Well, this is my holiday.
Not to speak of President's Day.
Well, this is my holiday.
Yeah. Oh, you're very kind. I love it. Okay. So we have one other person who may come, may not. I'm gonna give her a reading, but I'll kind of like keep a quick eye out. Sorry to be so abrupt, Helen. I'm just trying to
No, it's good. It's just 7.
I gotta stay on top of myself here. You know me, I do 1.5 hour classes, but I would go 2 hours if I could. So
Amazing.
I'm trying to be mindful of the time.
Amazing.
Oh man, you all are maybe not as blessed as you could be, because in the early days of my private practice, I'd always go like so over, but eventually I had to, to somewhat be aware of the time. Anyway, so just to welcome everyone. And I am recording as usual just to grant us some time and space. So hopefully you'll be able to absorb lots of gems here this evening and perhaps some flowers as well. But I will send you all a recording as I had been doing in the next 48 hours or so. So in case you want to rewatch it, feel free to do that. And just a quick word as we settle into the space. I'm going to speak philosophically in a moment, but I just wanted to, along with welcoming you all again, welcome, just acknowledge that February can be a hard month. I hope I didn't emotionally activate anyone actually by even mentioning V-Day. But, when I worked in mental health, I'm going to go to the shadow and then I promise to get to the light. So activation alert, mental health matters moment here. But, for those of you who know me, and some of you have known me for years in this space, I really care. One of my mini missions in life is to destigmatize mental health and mental health challenges. And one thing that I noticed when I worked in the mental health field full time was that February is the hardest as far as extreme self-harming behavior. Like people sometimes manage throughout the year, and February saw the highest numbers in hospitalizations done to the self. I don't know like how else to put that, with a range of behavior. And so, February can be tough. We're easing out of winter on the East Coast. A lot of people have been vitamin D deprived, even on the West Coast and in between, for months now. And it can just start to weigh on the spirit. So, number one, just wanted to acknowledge that, bring it into the space, in case you or loved ones start to feel blue starting in like January, February, especially after the holiday season high, so to speak. Cheers for that, Helen. Appreciate that. And then the other piece is sometimes that's compounded by other challenges or crises or whatever. So it's just life. But the days are getting longer and we are gradually inching into spring. So that's a good thing. I actually heard a lot of birds chirping last week, which was hopeful. Another thing that I've enjoyed doing, well, two quick practical tools, and then we're going to actually center acceptance on this call, but two quick practical tools. I actually got a light box, they call it, and there's many brands, and I'm not affiliated with any of them. Maybe I should be. But I got this a few years ago, and now they actually have it in college health centers, etc. When I was in college, I didn't see anything like that. But you can actually get them online and take in artificial light, especially during the winter months. That works for some people, not all. Though obviously getting out in actual sunshine is optimal for mood enhancement. Another thing is wood oils. I know I've talked about this before as far as releasing trauma and it being a stabilizing force if someone's in therapy or any sort of counseling and doing some of that deeper release work to have that inner stability. But the other thing that wood oils are helpful for is maintaining that emotional stability and physical groundedness during the winter months, where there's a lot of wind and a lot of cold air. As we gradually move into spring, I would recommend citrus as something more buoyant and connected to the season. But I wanted to put that out there. Right now, I've been using sandalwood, but prior to that, in the earlier part of the winter, I was doing cypress every day, especially on my feet. So I wanted to throw out some of those super practical tools as well. With that said, see, I've been holding in all of this for a few months. I'm so excited to talk. The next thing I felt guided to share was 3 levels of acceptance. So I'm going to, oh, I got a little note here. Besides cedar, yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I've been obsessed with cypress, so I'm kind of putting that out there. That also supposedly helps with blood circulation, Mary. So for those for whom edema may be a challenge, or just like circulation in general, whether that's water or blood or something else, like emotional circulation, that can be useful. But right now, I felt very drawn to the meditative qualities of sandalwood. It's obviously a bit of a stereotype, but it has been used in prayer and meditation ritual for millennia. So that's something that's currently on my radar. But with that, though, I'll just interrupt myself and say that cedar wood is often connected to clearing space and clearing energy, ranging from moths to lower dense energy, even unwanted disincarnate spirits in a space, if you want to go down that path. And yeah, if it depends on the needs, not only of your body and mind, but of the space you're inhabiting. So I'll put that out there. Good question. So I'm just going to briefly speak about acceptance. I'm going to try to speak about this in less than 5 minutes. Time myself here, good challenge. But one thing that Spirit's been speaking into me the last couple of days as I've prepared for this weekend was what I was told was 3 levels of acceptance, 3 tiers. So I'll just put that in the chat. Oh, let me just transfer from direct to group chat. 3 tiers of acceptance. Woohoo! We all probably face this theme at one point. When we are encountering situations, challenges, crises on our path that seem unavoidable. And some of these challenges are avoidable, right? Like maybe we can catch the bus or the subway if we look at our scheduling app beforehand. Some challenges in life are surmountable, but some of them are not. I mean, I'm thinking about for myself the death of my godparents, my grandparents. Those were not avoidable challenges, at least for me. Maybe they could be for you. That would be really miraculous. But eventually, those seem to come in our path, or as the author Kurt Vonnegut famously said, if I should ever die, God forbid, ... So I'll leave that there. But with that being said, sometimes we're faced with these things, and it's not necessarily even a physical death. It could also be a psychic death, right? The death of a major relationship, or the death of even a friendship, or the death of a workplace situation that we were attached to, and so on. I know my sister-in-law was recently laid off from her work, and she talked about her identity being tied up in that, or even caught up in that. And so often we go through these psychic deaths, like death of an identity connected to an external factor. With that being named, there's 3 different tiers of acceptance that allow us to unstuck or unclench ourselves from this death eventually. It doesn't have to be right in the moment, of course. This could unfold over months or years or even decades. But eventually we do want to move toward accepting even the unacceptable. And I'll give you a good book title for this in a bit, at least toward the end of class. But eventually we do want to move toward acceptance, because without that, again, we'll remain stuck most likely, and possibly in a bitter or resentful place for some years on end. So the first level of acceptance is, this is all just stuff I've been hearing, so take it with a grain of salt. But what I heard was passive acceptance. And what passive acceptance might look like is, I intend to accept this. I really don't accept this right now. I really don't accept the fact that my daughter just had a nervous breakdown and can't function. Or, sometimes we go through stuff in life and it just feels like this is not on my list of to-dos today. It is not acceptable. So passive acceptance, again, would look something like, I can't accept it now, but I'm setting the goal or the intention to accept it as soon as that's integrated with my spirit. Because if we fake spirituality too much, then we'll have major imposter syndrome, sort of like therapy. Like if we go to therapy and fake being happy, like what's the point, right? And so we want to have some authenticity there. But again, leaning toward the light, leaning toward acceptance, even if it's a long arc like history, nod to MLK there. So that's something to entertain. again, to reiterate, the first tier being passive acceptance. I really can't accept this. However, I'm going to intend to accept it at some point when that feels more authentic or integrated in my spirit. The second level would be open acceptance. And that's openly acknowledging this is hard, and yet I now choose to accept it. And hey, in some cases, it may be like 98% authentic. It doesn't have to be 110% authentic. And yet it's a step in a bold direction. All right, I openly accept this. And I know that even if it feels uncomfortable, my life experience has told me thus far that absolutely everything has taught me something if I am open to it, hence open acceptance. And therefore, I'm going to take that courageous step and say, I boldly accept this in trust, in faith. And that gets easier and easier with time and practice. The last step, which is really incredibly difficult, this is a very high level of alchemy, spirituality, being in the world. This, in my humble view, would be what master teachers such as Mahatma Gandhi, such as Jesus of Nazareth taught, which is I'm actually going to transform the situation with my acceptance. So not only do I intend at some point to accept the unacceptable and then therefore take guided action from that point, not only am I going to engage in open acceptance, which means even in my vulnerability, even in my fear, even in my trepidation, I openly accept the lesson here for me. I accept reality and keep moving forward. But then you get to transformative acceptance, which is even a stance of non-violently accepting reality, but transforming it with our thoughts, words, and actions. So that's when we get to praying for your enemies, right? And not meeting hate with hate, not meeting disdain with disdain, not meeting contempt with contempt. We all know that doesn't actually transform anything. It typically makes things worse. So that is extremely difficult. Like I said, I did acknowledge that for the record. And I do have a recording to prove it. Just kidding. But transformative acceptance says, I'm going to meet this person today, maybe in court for some, who is technically an enemy or has made themselves one. They don't necessarily have my best interest in mind or at heart. However, I'm going to not kill them, but flourish them with kindness because I believe in the power of kindness with reasonable boundaries, of course. Balancing boundaries with kindness is a thing, to actually transform situations. It doesn't necessarily mean they'll be a saint overnight, and nor will you. But what it does mean is that there's more of a potential for a shift. Otherwise, we're not actually giving it a chance at all, which means that life will definitely remain stagnant. So those are the 3 tiers of acceptance. There may be more. Feel free to write me a letter, an email, etc., sharing how you have shifted the world through acceptance at some point. But for now, I'm going to honor the time and stop. So with that being said, that's probably a lot to take in. Feel free just to take a moment to breathe and absorb. Good. And just noticing if there's anything that stood out of what I've shared so far. Maybe there was a particular word, phrase, or even sentence that spoke to your heart. Feel free just to note that and process it. Good. And now I invite you to simply take a deep breath and go ahead and bring your hands together to prayer posture, traditional yogic prayer posture. Usually about 3 to 4 inches away from the heart space. And continue to breathe, being mindful of the breath as it moves in and out of your body, animating your very life. And noticing that in this moment, in this safe place and space, it is safe to let go of some degree of control. Noting that, first of all, you're being breathed and you're not actually making the breath happen. And so perhaps the first step to spirituality is noting that we don't have to do everything ourselves, including simply breathing. So noticing and acknowledging, maybe even thanking the breath that is moving again in and out of your body, your sacred, precious body. And then drawing your awareness, your attention to the heart, and noticing your heart beating with strength and loyalty, steadfastness, and resilience right now. And just as we did with the breathing, perhaps notice that you are being beaten in the best way possible. Your heart is being beaten right now. You are not making the blood course through your heart and through all of the veins of your body. You're just being and allowing it to happen. Noticing, acknowledging the heartbeat. Noticing and acknowledging fresh life poured out at every moment. And perhaps thanking your heart for beating and doing its amazing unseen work. Good. And then perhaps smiling just a little bit. And also checking in with yourself now, noticing on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest level of stress, anxiety, disconnect. In this space, we tend to feel like life is very chaotic. So that would be a 10 on the scale. 1 would be, I have no stress. I am feeling amazing. I am in bliss. I am relaxed. I am open. I am free. Where are you this afternoon or this evening, depending on your time zone? I'm probably a 6 or so. And that's usually pretty normal for me, at least, like a 5 to 7. So just noticing where you're at and perhaps subtly setting that intention that by the end of class, you'll move down 1 or 2 notches on this stress scale, so to speak, subliminally putting that forth. Good. And on your next natural inhale and exhale of the breath, feel free to gently flower your hands open and just relax them, palms down or up at your thighs or perhaps right above your knees. And we're just going to ease in with a few gentle movements so you know what's coming. And then I'll have you all lay down on a mat or bed nearby you. So feel free just to roll the neck. I'm starting with rolling it to the right, but you can do what feels best. Good. Just finding that mobility, that strength. And as you're ready, gradually moving to the other side. Good. And then just making those micro adjustments in the neck and the shoulders that help you to release some of that tension that you might have been holding. Maybe you've been kind of crunched over and typing a bit. So feel free just to release that, maybe with some nice rolls or what have you. Good. And then as you feel ready to, feel free to just shake those shoulders out. Good. Up and down, up and down. Awesome. And then I'm going to invite us just to spend a couple of minutes of self-nurture. So if you happen to have an oil of any kind, it doesn't need to be a fancy essential oil. It could even be coconut oil or olive oil or almond oil or jojoba oil in your kitchen or your bathroom or whatever. Just feel free to, again, do this dry or with your palms lubricated. But with that, I'm just going to invite us to massage our own shoulders here or another part of your body which needs extra attention. Good. And as you apply this pressure, remember to breathe. Ideally in through the nose and out through the mouth, perhaps dropping the jaw down as you release on the exhale of the breath. But if that doesn't feel comfortable for you, then do what feels most comfortable. Good. We'll just do this for another minute or so. One thing that I learned when I worked at the Chopra Center was that the Sanskrit word for self-massage, which is abhyanga, also means love. In Sanskrit, abhyanga, another connotation is love. So, oh, that's great, Helen. Fabulous. And so that always stuck with me, that self love is a form of love. And one thing that we were taught when I worked there and trained to teach others with self massage and other self care practices was to take a little bit of the oil and just warm it up in the palms of the hands, and then always upward strokes and circular strokes toward the heart. Because if you're rubbing downward, then that is not as good for the circulation. We're kind of helping the heart out if we're rubbing upward. So something to remember. All righty. So at this point, feel free to keep massaging or feel free to just go ahead and release the massage and maybe engage in any movements that you need to, that your body is craving, or if you'd like to set yourself up on your mat, perhaps with a face mask, an eye mask, or some extra comfy blankets or pillows behind your knees. Feel free to do that. Get cozy. Good. And as I will have someone listen to this recording, or I'm going to send the recording to them as they signed up, I just want to mention that with Yoga Nidra, it can feel like you're going into a deep sleep, but indeed the body is falling asleep and the mind is staying awake and alert. So ideally speaking, you're actually going to go into such a deep, profound physical rest during this class. Even though our time together is limited, the amount of rest that you'll get will feel unlimited, ideally speaking. But again, your mind is going to stay alert. So unlike physical sleep, it's not your body and mind falling asleep, Carrie. It's just actually your body falling asleep, while again, your mind stays alert to absorb the guidance that I'm giving it. If you do end up falling asleep physically, then c'est la vie. I always say, it's okay, be gentle on yourself. You most likely needed the nap. But overall, the classic goal or aim of Yoga Nidra is not actually to fall asleep, though some people use it to fall asleep. The goal is inner awakening, self-actualization, eventually self-realization, to commune with your own inner essence, what some traditions call the soul. So that's the overall container that we're working with. And then we'll come out of it, do more of a traditional Shavasana, and I'll leave you all with some brief intuitive messages. And that's what we're going to do. So again, if you would like to get comfortable, Helen is modeling that beautifully. Thank you, Ms. Helen. And feel free just to notice your back body hugging that mat or bed or even couch beneath you. You definitely don't want to do Yoga Nidra when driving or something like that. You want to do it when you're in a stationary place. You can do it in a seated position. In fact, I used to teach older adults Yoga Nidra in a center, and we would do it with them on chairs because of mobility issues, it was hard for them, some of them, to get up and down onto mats. So you can do it in a seated position if that feels safer, more comfortable for any reason. And if you have any physical injuries or limitations, then that's why, excuse me, that's why I mentioned that. But generally speaking, it happens on a yoga mat in a laying down posture. So with that, notice your back body hugging the mat beneath you. And notice the space beneath the mat. It's most likely a floor. And beneath your floor, if you're in an apartment or condo building, might be someone else and their living space. Or if you're on the first floor of a building, such as your home or a friend's home or what have you, then you might notice that there's a basement or the foundation of a home underneath the floor. But just see if you can notice the floor supporting you and anything else structurally underneath the floor that's also in service to you right now. And then gradually begin to bring the earth into your awareness as well. Noticing that underneath it all, our greatest form of support, even underneath the pavement in New York City here, is the earth herself. So tap into Gaia, as some call her, this living organism that holds us all. And offering gratitude, offering thanks for this extreme type of support that our planet offers us literally 24/7. We're never not supported by our planet. Even in the midst of upheaval, we're still tied to the earth and therefore receiving some level of support, such as oxygen. So really expanding our awareness and bringing that forth and imbuing that truth with gratitude and care. Thank you, Earth. Good. And then feel free to connect with the earth in any way you see fit, even beyond gratitude. Maybe you see yourself outside of your home, making contact with a tree or an animal, or even in the midst of city lights, perhaps looking up at the night sky, noticing anything in your mind's eye that you might see. A shooting star, the bright steadiness of the moon, Venus in the night sky, connecting to the earth and our atmosphere. Good. And gradually moving your awareness to the breath. We're going to start with some basic pranayama. By pranayama, I mean breath or life force control. That's a Sanskrit word. And I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in through the nose, holding the breath for a count of 2, 3, or maybe even 4, before you exhale out through the mouth. Good. We'll do this a few more times. Deep breath in through the nose, gently enlarging, expanding the nostrils to accommodate the baptism of the breath. Bringing in so much light, so much peace through the breath itself. Holding the breath, releasing the breath. And now at your own pace, deep, luxurious inhale, holding the breath for multiple counts, really nourishing your body with it. And then exhaling out through the mouth. Allowing this circular breath meditation to ease you into well-being right now. Good. Taking your deepest breaths of the day right here, right now. Good. And now just relaxing, allowing yourself to breathe naturally. You can place the palms of your hands on your lower abdominal area if you'd like, or you can just splay them outward, allowing the hands to rest about 4 inches, 5 inches away from the thighs and the hips. Noticing which hand posture or maybe even a mudra works well for you this afternoon or evening. And we already centered ourselves with the energy of gratitude and appreciation this evening, Just to review, we offered awareness and appreciation to the breath moving in and out of us, our heart beating, and also Mother Earth herself. All of these very tangible reminders of how valued we are, how valued our lives are in the cosmos. Everything is really set up to nurture us, which is a humbling thought. And I mention that because some of you know we always start Yoga Nidra with some form of anchoring, gratitude, and appreciation process. And so now that we've covered that piece, we're going to focus to a sankalpa. Kari, sankalpa means intention in Sanskrit. So that's a classic yogic term for setting a steady intention for the next 20 minutes or so of practice. Typically, people will start their sankalpa, their intention, with the words, I want. So without any shame or hesitation, without ideally any self-censoring, bring to your mind, bring to your awareness anything that you want. This might be physical, like I want a new car. I really would benefit from that. That would serve me in a practical way, and that would serve me by bringing delight to me. Or maybe it's something relational. I want a better relationship with my neighbors. We've had some conflict, and I want a harmonious relationship with my next door neighbors, for example. Or maybe it's more philosophical or existential. I want to feel more connected to my higher power. I want to feel in alignment and in sync with what my higher power has for me, for example. So feel free to set forth your I want statement, making it both detailed and concrete. And I'll just pause here as you all might be formulating that. Good. And now I invite you to gradually shift that I want statement into an I am statement. Into an I am statement. So rather, for example, than putting it out there, I want a harmonious, balanced relationship with my neighbor. I want us to live in peace. That's great. However, the yogis, the yogic sages knew that even the phrase I want includes some lack in it, right? Because when we say I want, it is a statement of clarity. So we're getting somewhere. That's a good step. That really is a good step. However, we want to come from a place of internal abundance because like attracts like. That's a spiritual principle in multiple cultures and religions and so forth. And so we want to live from the space of internal and eternal abundance. Woo, that's a big deal for some of us, but we're leaning into it. Goodbye, scarcity. Hello, abundance. So in order to fully inhabit and embody this internal and eternal abundance, we need to come from this place of I am, because you already are that which you seek. So I am already experiencing this harmonious, peaceful relationship with my neighbor, for example. So go ahead and make that shift to I am, affirming and deeply knowing that you are, on the deepest level, that which you seek. And then go ahead and mentally repeat your I am statement, your sankalpa, 3 times or more. We are doing this, Kari, to help to reprogram that subconscious mind that accounts for so much of our thought processes and behavioral patterns. So you'll hear me invite you all to repeat your sankalpa multiple times throughout our time together. Good. And now I invite you to gently tense your entire body on the next inhale of the breath, gently yet firmly tense your entire body from head to foot right now. And on the next natural exhale, releasing it. This is one of those basic public teachings from a yogic organization called Self-Realization Fellowship, sometimes called SRF for short, Self-Realization Fellowship. And this helps to steady us and helps us to move, among other things, out of that reptilian brain and into that calm and relaxed prefrontal cortex brain, where we feel less stressed out and we can have more clarity of thought. So again, we'll do this at least once more on the next natural inhale of the breath. Gently tense, tense, tense all of your muscles. Tensing, tensing. You've got this. And exhaling out, letting go, physically and emotionally. Good, and now you can just breathe or engage in that tension and relaxation process one more time if you wish. Good. Nice. Y'all are doing great. Y'all are doing great at life. So with that, since you're doing so great at life, I invite you in February. I guess you could be in Southern California or Florida, etc., but I invite you to notice that you are resting on your mat or on a towel beneath you on a warm beach. And beneath this beach towel is the nurturing, slightly moist sand connected to a long white beach. Or maybe you find yourself somewhere like Kona, Hawaii, where the beaches are made of lava, in which case you'd be laying down on black lava formations, which is fun. Or something else of your choice. But feel free to breathe into this beach towel or yoga mat beneath you, noticing that you're finding yourself more and more relaxed as you physically surrender into this beachy earth beneath you. And you notice that your bare feet, the bottoms of your bare feet, are firmly anchored into the sand, or perhaps the pebbles or lava formations beneath you. And you can actually feel the stress, the tension, the agitation moving out and through the soles of your feet, the balls of your feet, and into Mother Earth herself as she graciously and forgivingly releases all of this unwanted energy into the core of the earth, where it is promptly transmuted in extremely high levels of heat. So again, feel free. She is inviting you, she being the earth, to release all of this unwanted energy out and down through the soles of your feet into the earth herself. As it's taken into the core of the earth, all the way downward, downward into the core of the earth. Excuse me, into the crust of the earth, all the way downward into the core of the earth. Where again, it's transformed and transmuted. It no longer needs to belong to you if it's not helping you. Again, if it's not helping you, it no longer needs to belong to you. Good. And now you're not only releasing energy, but you're feeling the presence of the sun's rays above you. And you have a little beach hat on, so it's not uncomfortable. but you still feel the warmth and support of the sun's rays on the uncovered parts of your body right now. Enjoy and soak in this heat right now. Good. And now you notice that the sun is getting to be a little too warm. So you decide to very gently sit up in your mind's eye. And you bring an umbrella over your head, even though you do have a hat on. And you decide just to breathe for a moment. And then you reach into a bag that you brought with you to the beach. And you take out a jug or jar of water that is still cold from when you packed it. Yes. And you pop open your jar or jug of water and you begin to drink this water, and you can actually feel the cooling water going into your mouth and down your throat right now. It feels so relieving. Enjoy this refreshing coolness right now. Wonderful. And when you feel complete with the water, you decide to set it aside for the time being, maybe pop it back into your bag. And you lay down again as you set the umbrella aside as well. You get comfortable again on your mat or beach towel, and you really enjoy the feeling of it, especially on the uncovered parts of your back body right now. Feels so good to lay back down and surrender and release again to the mat and to the earth beneath the mat. Everything is right with the world right now. And you rest and continue to absorb the warmth, the heat of the sun as it fills you with life. Enjoy this nurturing warmth right now. Good. And gradually you find that the sun seems to be a little less intense. And you start to feel your body just as it is right now, moving into a space of temperature neutrality, even though you're still in the beach scene right now. And I invite you to notice if you're hearing any sounds around you. It might be the sound of children playing nearby, or seagulls flying, or maybe it's the sound of people walking or jogging nearby you. And it could certainly also be the sound of the ocean waves nearby. What are you hearing right now? Good. And from this space of expanded calm, feeling so much calmness right now, and expanded awareness, and plenty of support from the earth, from the universe at large. You find yourself turning back to your sankalpa, your intention right now, and mentally repeating it 3 times or more. Good. And now you start to notice that the Sankalpa, as well as the lovely beach scene, gradually fades from your awareness. You notice that it is going away, sort of like a good movie, but you can always return to the scene if and as you feel inclined to do so. Especially at night before you go to sleep, you can see yourself inhabiting this space. The space now belongs to you. And now I invite you to go back to noticing the breath. And notice your belly button, your navel, as it gently and naturally rises, pauses, and falls in connection to your breath. Again, noticing your navel and your whole belly as it rises, pauses, and falls in perfect harmony with the breath right now. This is all you need to pay attention to right now. Everything else can wait. Just the breath, just the body. Just the breath, just the body. And now you notice that I'm going to be counting from 22 all the way down to 1. And as I count from 22 downward, you'll notice that another layer of stress and tension leaves, and another layer of deepened relaxation is revealed. Here we go. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Only the body, the breath, and the counting right now. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Deepen relaxation right now. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From the space of expanded relaxation and expanded consciousness, mentally repeat your I am statement, knowing that it's already part of you right now. 3 times or more, letting it flow through your awareness. Good. And now I invite you to notice if there's any spontaneous images that might arise for you in connection to your Sankalpa. Perhaps say it one more time to prompt your subconscious mind. And then see what you observe, what you notice unfolding against what is perhaps the darkness of your closed eyes, your closed eyelids. If your Sankalpa, in other words, could produce a short movie right now, what would it look like and what would it feel like to be part of this little movie right now? Good. Allowing your I am statement to come to life in your mind's eye right now. Good, and we're now going to release the little movie, which just like the scene at the beach, you can always return to at a later time as you see fit and as you feel inspired. And I'm now going to move us into a methodical relaxation process. So all you need to do is continue to lay down in a restful position and listen to the sound of my voice, which you're already in the habit of doing. And again, the mind will ideally stay alert and aware as the body increasingly rests and falls asleep, regenerating energy to be used for optimal growth and healing. You're going to again listen to the sound of my voice. I'm going to prompt you to focus your awareness on different body parts, starting with the right side of the body. As I say the different body parts aloud, starting with the right thumb, you'll just bring your awareness to your right thumb, for example. And when thoughts come and go, again, you'll bring your awareness right back to the right thumb or that body part that we're focused on. And then you can mentally repeat the name of that body part if you'd like to stay really focused before we move on to the next one. You'll find that actually there isn't really much space in which to think extraneous thoughts. So this process is not only very relaxing, but a good concentration enhancement game. So here we go. Taking a deep breath in and out. And again, starting with the right thumb, bringing your awareness to the right thumb. Right thumb. Second finger. Third finger. Fourth finger. Fifth finger. Palm of the right hand. Back of the right hand. Right wrist. Forearm. Elbow. Upper arm. Shoulder. Underarm. Waist. Hip. Right thigh. Knee. The space behind the knee. Calf. Ankle. Good. The entire right foot. Starting with the heel of the foot, ball of the foot, sole of the foot. Good. And now for the toes, take your time here, be patient. Right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Beautiful. Now moving to the left side of the body, starting with the left hand, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, palm of the left hand, back of the left hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, the space beneath the shoulder, waist, hip, thigh, knee, the space behind the knee, calf, ankle, the entire left foot, heel of the foot, ball of the foot, sole of the foot. Good, everyone. Now going to the toes, take your time here. Left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Good. Right buttock, left buttock, right lower back, left lower back. right mid-back, left mid-back, right upper back, left upper back. Now dancing all the way back down to the base of the spine and gently dancing through the base of the spine, dancing through and upward through all of the spinal cord vertebrae, moving upward through the sensitive space, all the way upward where the spine touches the base of the skull, medulla oblongata. Good. Back of the skull or head, top of the head, the entire face. Bringing your face into your awareness right now, and perhaps breathing a little bit more deeply as you intend to release any tension stored in the face and the delicate facial muscles right now. Is there anything you can let go of here? Good, everyone. Center of the forehead, right temple, left temple, right eye, left eye, right eyelid, left eyelid, right cheekbone, left cheekbone, tip of the nose all the way upward to the bridge of the nose. The entire nose, right nostril, left nostril, everything connected to the nose right now. Good. Upper lip, lower lip, tongue, the entire tongue, from the tip of the tongue all the way backward to the root of the tongue right now. The space beneath the tongue. Chin, jawline, tracing your entire jawline in your awareness right now. And perhaps wiggling your jaw a bit, opening and softening your jaw, your jawline right now. You are safe to let go of tension and bring in deep, deep rest right now. You are designed for rest as much as activity. So leaning into this restfulness right now. Good. Right earlobe, left earlobe, throat, right collarbone area, left collarbone area, right side of the chest, left side of the chest, your abdominal region, lower abdominal region. Good. Continuing to deeply breathe and listening to the sound of my voice, even as the urge to fall asleep completely might arise. We're going to move to the limbs of the body now, starting with the right hand, right arm, left hand, left arm. Perfect. Right foot, right leg, left foot, left leg, right now. And now all four limbs, hands, arms, legs, feet, all at once. And now taking your entire body into the realm of your awareness. And even the light that emanates outward from your body, that's part of your awareness now too. And breathing into this physical form and the light that surrounds it at this time. Noticing that with every conscious breath, the light increases just a little bit. And from this place of internal and external illumination, I invite you to return to your sankalpa, mentally repeating it 3 times or more right now. Nice work, everyone. Nice work. Now you're going to notice that I offer forth some spontaneous images. There's no right or wrong here. Everything is correct as your mind just happens to see it. Go with that. And then after I briefly offer some spontaneous images, then we'll go into more of a unstructured brief shavasana, where you can simply continue to relax with a little less guidance and deeply absorb the benefits of this valuable practice. Good. A field of sunflowers, a bed of roses, a vase of blooming pink and white peonies, a child sitting at the kitchen table eating a cookie, a mother and a father dancing in a ballroom, a group of young people playing volleyball at a beach, a sea lion, a sunset, a golden key, a golden sun, a silver crescent moon, a woman wearing a lot of turquoise jewelry, a young couple dancing together under the moon, a group of people laughing and talking together at a party, a teacher in the front of a classroom instructing a group of young people, a group of people folk dancing outdoors, a sunrise, a foggy morning, clouds that are billowy in a bright blue sky, a small area that's full of newborn kittens, a beautiful mirror, noticing this mirror, a large bowl of fresh fruit, a tall lamp, a bed that seems to be very well made, an organized kitchen, a messy bedroom, a hot bath ready for you to step into it. That same mirror, now noticing it in a little bit more detail right now and stepping a bit closer to it, to the extent that you can actually see your reflection in this mirror. Making eye contact with yourself in the mirror, and perhaps gently smiling upon seeing your own reflection in your mind's eye. It's okay to smile right now. Good. Generating that self-love, that good feeling toward your inner self, your higher self in this internal mirror right now. Making eye contact with yourself, knowing that deep down you are worthy, you are deserving of this I am statement that you've been bringing into existence. So from the space of inner deservingness, not entitlement, but deep and certain deservingness, I invite you to mentally repeat your I am statement 3 times or more right now. Good. And now releasing the sankalpa, knowing that you'll certainly return to it at a later time if you so choose. I invite you to enjoy the song by Rob Ricardo. The song is entitled Deep Connection. And again, feel free just to continue to breathe and receive.
As I drift in the deep blue sea, head out above the surface, taking in that beauty. What a sun is shining, this is all I need. Root down to the ocean bottom, but I can feel that heat at the core of Pachamama, birthing all we see, creating land above with the fire underneath. I've been looking for a deep connection, and here's what I found. This silent shares some lessons on sacred ground. Let go and open up, deep connections all around.
Good, allowing yourself to gently wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe allow yourself to stretch a little bit or engage in another form of movement that feels gently activating right now, physically activating. Gradually bringing that sense again of physical movement into your arena. I can tell you all did some deep self-work, some deep inner work this evening on East Coast time. So I commend that. And as you feel able to, I invite you to move to one side, laying in fetal posture. Again, using the momentum of that gradual movement to move to your side. And just finding your footing here. What does this feel like? What is this texture of being like? Beautiful. And then with one hand and forearm, gradually pushing downward to move upward as you feel ready to a seated posture. And if you're not able to access that yet, then you can still be with us from laying down, but gradually I want to leave you all in an awake space. And feel free to bring your palms together, whether you're laying down or sitting upward. Good. And just noticing the texture of your breath, the texture of your being, as I said. Maybe it felt more staccato before, and now it's more like a fluid symphony. That would be terrific. Uh, Good. And also checking in with your heart. How is that feeling? Is your heart, to ask a leading question, a little bit lighter and brighter right now? How does your emotional self feel? Good. And now I invite you to notice where you are on that scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest level of stress, 1 or 0 being perfectly blissed out and peaceful. Where are you at right now? Moving back into that theme of acceptance. You might be where you were before. That's okay. You did the inner work, you showed up. Maybe you'll engage in the recording at a later time and bring it down again. Sometimes it's a lot to take in as it's happening. Or maybe you have found that you've gone down 1 notch or several notches. Wherever you find yourself, that's a-okay. Self-acceptance. Good. And then just taking a moment to seal our practice with gratitude. Offering gratitude to the many factors in life that have supported us and contributed to us being here. It's usually a delicate confluence of events that allows multiple people to come together. to do something. So being sensitized to everything that had to work well for us to be here and merge our energies together in this time, in this place, in this space, however virtual it may be. Feeling that vibrational tone of gratitude and appreciation and sending it out right back to life. Good. And from this place of peaceful contentment, I can feel it in the virtual space. I invite you to send thoughts, prayers, well wishes, whatever your cultural language around it might be, to someone in your life, or maybe multiple people. Well, it could be in your life or on the world stage at large, who need some of that positivity right now. And extend this good energy outward in a generous act of selfless love. Good. Feeling it within and then sharing it without. And on the next natural inhale and exhale of the breath, I invite you to gradually release the palms of your hands, maybe shaking them outward a little bit, and engaging in any other gentle movements that your body might be craving after that period of stillness. Sort of like waking up from a long nap. I love Yoga Nidra. It really is something how 30 minutes or so of Yoga Nidra can feel more restful than a 3-hour nap. Oh, good. So now we're going to transition to some messages. One thing that popped out at me earlier when I was tuning into your energies, with your permission, I always do that with permission, knowing, ethically speaking, that if someone shows up to a class or expresses interest in the class, then they've given me their consent to tap into their energy. So with that, what popped out at me was color and all of the wisdom that color brings to us, and all of the wisdom that we can also glean from understanding what colors are in us and around us right now, just in and through the energy body, which is that light emanating outward into the energy field, or the auric field, as some energy healers call it. So with that, let's go ahead and just tap in. So I'm going to start with you, G. And what I'm seeing is a dark navy blue. And this dark navy blue is often associated with the military. Actually, you and I have had conversations about this before, and I'm seeing that, and then I'm seeing another color, which I'll get to in a moment. But often this darkened blue color has to do with a sense of authority, a sense of being commanding in a space. And what I'm hearing is actually for you, sometimes people see you that way, but for you to actually own this color and use it more in your inner life. Because sometimes when you walk into a space, people see you as this navy blue color because of what you carry energetically. And that's terrific in some ways. But what I'm hearing is like really claim this color and its vibrational tone, the energy connected to it, to take authority in your inner world around different thoughts or worries or concerns. And when they arise, especially if they're interrupting your sleep or just your wellness, your well-being in general, borrow from this authority conveyed by this navy blue color and say, I'm taking authority here. and any other spiritual language you want to use with that. And I'm not allowing this to go further. The buck stops here, so to speak. I'm interrupting this worry, for example, and I'm replacing it with faith. I'm replacing it with hope. I'm replacing it with visualizing a positive outcome. I'm replacing it with doing one step, which will alleviate the worry, for example. So that is something that you can borrow from. And then the other color that I saw was cream, like an off-white cream color. And with that, I'm getting whenever you need to soften that navy blue energy, you can borrow from that cream palette, that cream color in your palette, and mix it with the blue, making it a lighter blue, almost a peacock blue is what I'm seeing, and still having that sense of inner authority, but then also mixing it with a sense of trust, trust in life. So taking authority, but then balancing it with a little bit more softness connected to, as we practice in Yoga Nidra, right? Leaning into that process of life, leaning into that flow of life, and knowing that so far, life has a pretty good track record. You've made it this far, as I like to tell people. So, hey, there is something to be said about even just trusting the process and that dance of life itself. All right, namaste. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. Okay, so this one is for Ms. Helen here. I have to say, as soon as I look at your energy field, I literally saw baby chicks being born. It's really sweet. And it feels like a really delicate, sensitive, soft process. Like you are that baby chick. It's a very springtime image. And when baby chickens are born, it's a very sheltered process, typically speaking. It often happens in a barn or in a space with heat. They like heat around them. And so just to remember to give yourself the nurturing and the sheltering that you may need at this time as this rebirth is continuing to happen. I feel like pretty certain, I could be wrong, but I feel somewhat certain that rebirth metaphors have come up for you before, but this is a very specific one. So there's some chicken magic for you. All right, so the color that I'm getting actually is a very light pale yellow. And that's actually often associated in some, what shall I say, angelology circles, the study of angels, with releasing grief and comforting grief. It's often actually connected to a particular type of stone, citrine, if I'm not mistaken, that has to do with releasing grief. So it feels like a twofold message that as you continue to tend to and release grief, that it aids you in this rebirthing process that feels in alignment with the spring months. So that's an encouraging message. Namaste. I hope it is for you. Bless. Okay, I'm actually going to go to Carrie, who is not with us presently, but I'm going to send her a recording. So here you are, Carrie Al. Let me just tune into you. So as I tune into your energy, I'm actually getting multicolors. And it looks like a bunch of bright butterflies, 12 to be precise, that are all just fluttering around you. They're not monarch butterflies, the brown, the white, the black. They are colorful butterflies, but it almost looks animated, like an AI generated field of butterflies. And there is a quiet sense of celebration to this. However, I also notice that these butterflies are outlined in black. Again, I wanted to specify that they're not monarch butterflies. I know what those look like, having been raised in California, but they are very bright butterflies. I'm seeing white and blue and red and maybe almost an orange color. They're really popping out again, like a film, an animated film. So there's multicolors here. It's hard to whittle it down to one. And Often when I see multicolors, it implies a type of celebration, like a party, and it also implies freedom and expanded freedom. So sometimes transformation hurts and there's sadness there. And you're feeling all of that and more. And at the same time, you're guided to focus on that quiet inner celebration that can also accompany you. The key word here is accompany you, like a butterfly softly accompanies us through these life passages. And I really say passages because we can go through transitions and then passages. And sometimes when we go through a passage in life, it reminds me of a big ship, like a cargo ship going across the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. And back in the day, these big trips could take 3 months, 4 months at a time to get, say, from Europe, for example, to North or South America. And that's really a passage. And so be prepared for this ongoing passage in your life. But again, also the quiet celebration that can underlie it. All right, Carrie, namaste. Okay, so when I look at your energy field, Mary, I'm now transitioning to Mary. This may sound drab, but in fact, it's actually very dynamic. What I'm seeing is brown, but I'm getting an animal too. I didn't think we'd go there today, but that's what came up. Which is a big bear, and it feels like a grizzly bear in perhaps the deep woods. And this big brown bear represents several things. One of them is a type of protectiveness, often associated with maternal protectiveness, but it really is not limited to one particular gender or gender expression. And the other piece is hibernation, and then the gradual sense of coming out of hibernation. So, what I'm hearing is even though you're excited for spring, as is fairly universal, fairly, I know some people who do like winter more than spring and summer, but maybe they're in the minority. I might argue. I'm getting that even though, like, intellectually, you're excited for spring, there are parts of your body and psyche that still need that winter hibernation, that partly still feel like that inner bear. And there are certain things in your inner life that still need to be nurtured and protected in a bear-like fashion, if that makes sense. Because, of course, the bear can also have a destructive end, but in the positive sense, the bear is often just trying, if it lashes out, to protect and guard its environment, right, from anything else that might disturb it. So, be mindful, not so much of the destructive part of that bear archetype or energy, but also the protective part of that. So if you need to sleep more during these days, sleep and do that without shame. If you need to listen to your Yoga Nidra recording 10 times, do that. And know that that's perhaps part of your process right now of moving slowly and pushing forth this hibernation just a bit longer. So, with that being said, I invite us just to take a moment to take in all of these words. I often find that, as I've said before, for those who have been here before, when one person gets a message, there are often grains of truth in it for others. So we'll just integrate for a moment. Good. And some of the inner messages that might have come up for you, that came up for individuals here, is where can you take authority in your life and then even soften that authority? But where can you take a stand, especially in your inner world? And where can you tend to and release grief to aid in new beginnings and new rebirthings? And what merits, what warrants quiet celebration, even in the midst of vast change that eventually leads to freedom? Further, what needs a little bit more quiet protection and safety and rest before you put it out there into the world or even into your private life. All right. Thank you so much for spending this sacred time with me. It's really a blessing for me. It's really a gift. So I am thankful for it. And I look forward to seeing you all hopefully next month. Feel free to save the dates. I can't always think this far to the next month. But I learned this lesson this month as a few people were like out of the country traveling after I'd already announced my classes. So I'm going to do a little save the date for March, which is I intend to offer classes again on the 9th and 10th of March. So you can inwardly or externally save the date. And yeah, have a blessed night. Take care. You're very welcome, Mary. All right. Good night. Ciao.